Hi, this is Sarah Sewell, and I'm going to be going over how to use Canva for teachers. So this is a super introduction to Canva. So here is Canva, and here is me. So the first step to get logged into Canva is to hit continue with Google. As long as your school has some sort of Google account, this is the easiest way to do. You can also use a school email if you have a different email. So I'm going to go into my Rice account, and I've already got it set up. So when I get here, it's going to ask me what I'm going to make. That was just going to ask if I wanted to open up my desktop app, which I use sometimes because I use Canva a lot, but it's actually not super essential. So today I'm going to be making a poster that's all about me. So I could do that a few ways. I could make an Instagram story, I can make a square, I can make a resume, I can make all sorts of things. And what I'm doing here is selecting the thing that most fits what I'm making, because it will generate recommendations for templates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to templates. So they have classroom decor kits. So these are just a bunch of templates that fit with a theme. And I really like bees, so I'm going to click bees. And for my poster that's all about me, I'm going to use this. So this is a poster, and I'm going to customize. So what I did was I went to this theme. So I went to template, selected a theme, and then there's all this branding in different forms I can use for my class. So if I wanted to make name tags, if I wanted to make class rules, if I wanted to make little informational things, something for my Canvas page, lots of options. And I selected this one, clicked on it, and then select customize this template. So in a new window that has opened, this design. Let me check on my recording. Still going great. Okay. So I'm not going to open this design in my Canva app because it's honestly not that useful. So no thanks. So now what we're going to do is go over how to use each part of the Canva experience. So I've picked this template because I like that it already has a photo included, but I can scroll through and choose all of these. Let's say I say, you know what? I actually want to do something 90s. Then I have all these retro themes. I really like this one, for example. I actually don't like that as much. Command-Z, back to that template. But because this fits with the theme of everything else I've been using, I'm actually going to use this. So now to remove an item, this is where I want to put my photo of myself. So I'm going to hit delete, got rid of that. Another thing I can do, Command-Z to redo that, I can go here and hit the trash. So if you've been following along, now I'd like you to go to Canva and practice doing this and pause the video. So what you're going to do is create a Canva account, select a template you'd like to use, and delete something off that template you don't want to use using the trash or the delete button. So you can pause the video and do that, and when you're caught up, start the video again. Okay, so now we're going to start working with text. So I like the text that's already in here, but let's say I wanted to add text. Then there's a lot of different options I have. I can click add a text box, and that'll just generate a body text font that's in the theme of the template, or that's the default Canva font, 12 font, very small, delete. Or I can add a heading. So that's going to be exactly what I see here. I'm dragging it over here and placing it wherever I want, and then I can move it around. If I want to change the font, I go up to here, and I really like that it has all the fonts being used in this template, and it also has recommended fonts that complement it. size, I can go up, down, or type, and then come here. One nice thing is I can go to all of these document colors so it matches. For example, I want to match this blue, hit this, now they're the same color. And then one really nice thing about Canva is these options. So this is a preset that is super cute, and it's a group of text boxes. Usually, sometimes this might just be one. So there's different types. So let's say I'm going to use this to write my name. So I'm going to write my last name on the bottom, and then this is actually a group of text box. So I'm going to click off of this text box, go to this top one, and then I want to edit this. So sometimes they're a little tricky to get that top one, but I've gotten it. I'm going to type out my name, Sarah Sewell. Okay, and then this I see is 360. I want my last name to be that size too, so I'm going to type this in as 360. Oh, that says 260. So now my name and my last name are the same size. I'm going to get rid of this text box. That's the delete button, or I can use the trash button. I'm going to select the text and drag it over here and make sure that's perfectly in line with the center, and drag it down so it's just right here on the bottom. So now I'm going to come up here, just change this to all about. Ooh, so something that can be tricky about this is with the templates, if you add a lot more letters than it was usually, kind of have to play with the size until it fits in how the template's structured. So I'm going to switch this to 200, see how that looks. Perfect. So now these fit in between. So all about me. And then personally, I want these to be equally spaced. So I'm going to drag this up so that there's an equal amount of space between all and me. And I think I actually want to move this up a little bit to ensure that. There we go. So all about me. So to use text, we can come over here, add text box, add text, or use these font combinations, which you often have to edit as groups. So to practice doing that, pause the video again and change the text on your template to what you want to be. When you're done, I'll be here. Okay, now that you've got the text set up, let's talk a little bit about groups. So these two text boxes are in a group, which means that when I move one, I move all of them. If I delete one, I delete all of them. For example, well, not always. If I've selected both, so if I click on the group right here, so I can click on so if I move this, it all moves together, and then I'm clicked on the whole group, so when I delete it all. But sometimes I want to change things. For example, I don't like how these are offset, and instead I want them to be next to each other. So I'm going to double click and go to ungroup. To me, that's the easiest way to do it. You can also do Shift Command G to ungroup, and to regroup, you do Command G. And then let's say I want to ungroup it, Shift Command G. But I think the easiest way with Canva, because as a teacher I'm not going to be using it super often, is just to go to this menu. It's easier to use the delete, it's easier to use the Command C, the Command V, the things that you already know, but don't worry too much about remembering this Command G unless you're using it in the classroom every day. So now these two are ungrouped, so I'm going to structure it a little bit so that they kind of look like they're complementing each other. Just a little bit different than it was already set up. I might play around with tilting this so that kind of looks like that kind of looks more handwritten. I like that style. And I think it has a nice complement to these really blocky letter types right here. If I want to change the font, I can go here and say, actually I want this to match this yellow font. Obviously it looks a little silly, but that's that. And then I'm going to change it back to what it was. Okay. Another fun advanced thing about text that these presets already have is they use effects. So if I go to effects, we can see that they've already selected a shadow, and that shadow is pink. Let's say I want the shadow to be yellow. Now it looks quite different, but it has that yellow echo. I can also use white. That can help things pop. One quick hint is if you have a background with a lot of color, having a white shadow, and so if I make my shadow white, then my text color black, that will be readable on almost anything. But here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make it dark pink and then give it a lighter pink shadow. That kind of monochromatic effect can help it pop without being too much. So other effects you can use on text are splice. I can curve text, I can use glitch. These are all things to make it fancier. If you're new to Canva, the best thing to go is just use these existing font combinations or search. So let's say I want to do classroom. Maybe teacher. And sometimes you gotta play around. So here, this is a preset for writing letters of recommendation if I want to do info. So this is a good way to structure. Now if I want to add my phone number, my extension, and my email, super easy, restructured. It also recommends fonts that might fit with the theme. So those are some advanced features in text: searching, using effects, and changing the colors and fonts in those effects. So we also talked a little bit about groups. To group, you double click, hit group. You have to have two things selected though. So how do I select two things? Well, click one, click shift, click another. So how about you pause and practice, find something in your template that is either grouped and ungroup it by using that ungroup feature, double click, click ungroup, or shift command G, or select two things by clicking them, click, click. I'm clicking on them with shift, and then you can either do command G or double click, hit group. All right, go practice using text effects and using groups and come back when you're ready. Okay, so now we're going to talk about uploading an image. So I want to use a picture of myself so you can see some of the things that I've already used. Let's see. I don't think I want to use any of these assets, but you can see that these are all things that I've added from previous projects. Little icons I like. These are posters I like to draw inspiration from. Lots of fun icons, lots of fun photos. So I'm going to go and take a photo from here. So just know where you like your photos. This is a default photo I use for all my pictures, so you can pause and find wherever your default photo is. And I'm gonna add this here. So that looks okay. I'm gonna resize it to be the right size and move it to be right in the center. So that looks okay. Now, if I had Canva Pro, one thing I could do is go to Edit Image and remove the background, but I don't have Canva Pro, so I can't do that. So one thing that I want to do is crop the image. I'm gonna hit crop, and that's going to allow me, I can only crop it in a square. So I'm gonna get rid of a lot of this background, really focus on my face and shoulders. So now I have that. I'm actually gonna bring this up a little bit, get more of my head, some little white space. Stretch it out, and that's gonna make sure that it stays kind of looking in a good proportion. So what I've done is I've uploaded something by dragging it from my computer into the upload section. I can also click upload files, go to my personal folder, and then select the image, open. That's much slower. But if you have really crowded desktop, it could be helpful. So now it's probably not gonna load because I've already added that image. It will. So now I have two images, two great photos of myself that I can add. And so what I've done after that is I can either double click to crop, or I can click on it and crop. So upload an image from your computer of yourself for your About Me photo, and then crop the image to your liking. Okay, so now we're going to talk about advanced things you can do with photos. Edit image. I can filter or I can adjust. Let's say I want this to more of a purple tone. Ooh, the pink fits in really well with the theme. Or I want to up my saturation, give it more of a retro feel. I'm gonna adjust this. So sometimes I kind of struggle to get it right at 0. So one thing I can do is hit -10. And that's a really useful tool if you're struggling to get it right at 0. So I just want it right at 0. So that's a high level of saturation. Let me decrease that a little bit just so it's a little more vibrant. Contrast, these are the same as any photo editing app. I like to increase the warmth sometimes for photos that I increase the saturation on, and sometimes the vibrance. And if I load, one good thing about these photos is if you kind of combine decreasing the highlight and increasing the shadow, sometimes with some photo backgrounds, you can make yourself pop out more against the background. Also, can be kind of fun to give yourself a little bit of a blurred effect, but not really useful here. So that's going into the filters and adjusting things. I can also scroll down to see some presets. So just like Instagram has these, I can say retro, it's pretty intense, whimsical, that kind of looks like I've died, dramatic. I really like that I can go straight to black and white, Nordic, summer, and some of these, so this is what it looks like done, summer. That's a pretty big adjustment, but some of these aren't as big of a difference. And let's say, well, I like summer, but it's too intense. I can click this little slider and adjust the intensity of the filter. So to review, I went to image, edit image, adjust and filters. So take a moment, play around with the filters, see what you think. So let's say that I really want this to pop. I can go in and make it duotone, which means that it's going to change it to really just 2 photos, like grayscale, but instead of black to white, this one's going from pink to purple. This one, again, a different pink to a different purple, cherry. And these are fun. I think since the focal point of this photo is my face though, probably not the best thing to do. So I'm gonna do Command-C, get back to my normal image. Some other fun things to do, especially I'm sure students will like these effects. I can smear my face, looks kind of crazy. I can smudge it, give it kind of a glitch effect. I can melt it. So these are fun options, not super helpful for our teaching portfolio. I do like these photogenic filters, just make recommendations for filters that might look good with my template in photo. And to get them to stick, I hit apply. So that's how you edit photos. Let's say that I wanted to make my image into a circle. I'm going to Google circle and elements, drag it on, and then drag my photo. This actually does not work without Canva Pro. But if you have Canva Pro, when you put a shape, you can drag your photo onto the shape, and then it will form it into that shape. So if your school has Canva Pro for you, that's a fun feature you have. I don't have Canva Pro in my personal account, so I'm not gonna use that. Not super needed. So let's talk about this element feature. So we've gone through templates, we've gone through uploads, we've gone through text. Now we're going to elements. This is one of the most powerful tools on Canva. Let's say that I want to have a classroom theme of unicorns. Type in unicorns and there's all these fun free graphics. Ooh, so let's see if I can give myself unicorn horns. So I Google it, all of these are free use. This one's animated, which is super fun. And how I resize it is just like how I resize my photo using this little cursor. I can move it, and then for this example, I might give it a little tilt. So that's given me little unicorn ears. So I searched what I wanted, I found it, I dragged it, and then I resized and tilted it to my usage. What I can also do here is I can change the transparency. You can do this on photos as well. I can position, so I can bring it to the front. Let's say,
Hello, this is Sarah.
Let's say that I wanted to get rid of this, but I still want to have it in the document for some reason. I can send it all the way to the back. Now it's all the way in the back. Again, I'm going to bring it to the front. I can also align it, so I can align it to the top of the page. I can align it to the middle or to the bottom. So again, I went position. That's the align features. I can crop it and I can flip it. So I can flip it horizontally or vertically. Let's say my photo was upside down. That'd be really useful. I can also just tilt it, but that will give me a more perfect build. So I'm going to leave this on there because I think it will be helpful. Let's see what other features we can use. Something that we can do that can be really useful is one tip. So a lot of borders on here are free, but a lot of the more fun ones are premium. So let's say I want a fun border, but there's nothing free that I want to make. Then I can go unicorn and I can find a photo that I like that. So I'm going to go to photos and take a photo that's not premium. Okay, so here is some sprinkles. So let's say I want to add a border to this. What I can do is you can't crop out this a square to make this a border, but this is a great tip that I use all the time. I go crop and I just make it about as skinny as I want it to be for the border. I go here, make it taller, Command C, Command V. So I copied and pasted, put that there. And so these are similar, but maybe I don't want to take the same pattern. I can drag this in again. So see, this is the function that I was talking about earlier. It won't let you do this on photos on Canva Premium, but if I want to replace this with picture, I can just by dragging it. Can get a little annoying though. So I've added this on. I'm going to bring this up. Again, I'm going to double click to crop it just about here. So I'm getting a different part of the pattern. I'm going to put it right here, drag it into my border, and this also prevents the design from getting too messed up. So essentially I'm making my own fun little border. Oops. So what I did there was I moved it, or I resized it, not moved it. So now I've made this border, and let's see. This is a quick quiz. If I wanted to group these, what would I do? I'll take a moment for you to think of your answer. I would hit Shift, click, 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 Command G. And now I've created a border that I can move. Only I forgot to click this one. So I take this, if I want to add something to my group, I can click here, here, Command G. So now I have a full border I can move. However, I can also resize it as a group. So instead of resizing them all one at a time, I'm resizing them all. Delete. So now I've made a fun little About Me poster. If I wanted to, I can add a page and do it again. If I want to copy this, and let's say I want everyone in my class to make an About Me, then I hit this duplicate button. Let's say I don't want this to be able to be changed at all. Now you can't. So what you can do is I can lock my example, share this with my class, and they can edit this all they want, but they can't edit my original. So that's the lock, that's the duplicate, this is the trash, and this is add a page. So I have this About Me page, but let's say for one of my classes I want a different type. I can come here, add a template, totally different template. So I have this, and I have this style, and I can change it to this, except for that's premium. It's cute. But I could change it to this, because that is not premium. So you can use any template that isn't premium. There's 250,000 different templates with all these different themes, and as you can see, a lot of them aren't premium. This is super cute. So that's how I use Canva. There's one last thing to use. Now that you've made it, you're going to want to share with your class. So I could hit print, and then I would order and pay for this to be delivered. This would be $11. I could have a poster here in my classroom, but I don't really want to pay for that. I love this mock-up. Obviously, this would not be animated in real life. I want to share it. Then there's different ways I can share. I can share, let's say I want to share it with my personal account, sarahsewell@gmail.com. I can say, hey Sarah, feel free to edit. And then I'll send it and that person can edit. I can also make it so that they can comment or they can view. So I'll pause, share this with somebody, can even be yourself, and make it so that they can view and add a note. Okay, now that we've learned to share, let's learn link sharing. You can do anyone with a link, copy link, great for the classes. As I mentioned before, if I want to use this in my class, what I would do is I'd just lock the page, keep it locked, add a page, make it so that they can edit it. So again, that's share. Anyone with the link can edit, can comment, can view. If I made a PowerPoint, I could hit present or present and record or view only link. So let's say I made a PowerPoint in Canva of everything I missed, then you can hit view only link, perfect for somebody who missed. Now, probably what I end up using the most isn't the share, but the download. So for this, I can download it as an MP4 video, so I keep this animation. If I don't need that animation, I can do a PNG. So it says here it won't be exported as this file type. So that means that this will be flat and it won't move. I can also do it as a JPEG, again, same thing. And I can do it as a GIF. And anything I choose, I can set download savings. So when I use Canva, I have it set to always download as a PDF standard, flattened and saved. And then I download, wait for it to appear in my downloads. This is a fun part of technology. All done, open my downloads and add this over here. Oops. It's right here. It's still loading. Let me open it. Moment of truth. Loading more. Here is my poster full size. I zoom out. There she is. I can print this off. I can share this with my students. I made this. You can see this is flat. So that's my introduction to Canva. There's a whole lot more to learn, and there are links to resources in this PowerPoint and also on my Google sites. But thank you so much for learning about Canva with me. It really is a great tool, and I hope that you can get to know it and love it as much as I do. I think that it's a great tool for students because they have complete ownership of what they're doing. They can get templates, elements, and uploads all in the app. It's really a one-stop destination for students. It's not the best for collaboration, which we'll get into in a future video, but for individual projects, they can make presentations, they can make slides, they can make infographics. You can add a chart. One thing that I didn't show that's a more advanced function is students can drag in a pie graph or a bar graph and set the qualifications that they like. So they can create visualized data and they can just create something beautiful. So whether you're using it to make designs for your classroom or using it as a project, those are the basics of Canva. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I'll see you in the Adobe video. Bye!